I'm in the woods. I must be lost. Actually, I'm here on purpose. This is Grizedale Forest, and I'm here today to try my hand at some woodland photography, because if I don't practice, I'm never going to get any better. The weather forecast for this morning wasn't particularly optimistic. It was very overcast, which is not ideal for landscape photography. So what I thought I'd do is to come to Grizedale Forest and we play another one of my little lens games. This is my favourite lens. It's my standard zoom lens, a Canon 24 to 70mm f4L. And I use this lens when it's not being repaired for about 85 to 90% of my shots. But I never ever push it to its limits. Now occasionally I will shoot at 24mm. Less often than that I will shoot at 70mm. I hardly ever shoot at f4 and almost never shoot at its closest focusing distance, which is around 40 centimeters. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to take that lens and I'm going to push it to its limits. I'm going to take 4 shots, one at its widest focal length, one at its longest focal length, one at its widest aperture, and one at its closest focusing distance. And I think I've already eyed up my first shot. If you think about it, this challenge is actually quite clever, because by pushing my lens to its extreme settings, it's going to force me to be a bit more creative than I might otherwise be. Starting with this shot, looking straight back down this bridge. So that's the first shot in the bag. That shot was taken at 24mm, the widest for that lens. And what I wanted to do was to use the leading lines in the bridge to take the eye right off into the distance. And I wanted to get that vanishing point right in the center of the frame. So what I did was I centered the area that I can magnify, and then I zoomed in 10 times magnification and then got the vanishing point bang in the middle of there. Pretty clever, eh? One of the shots that I always look for when I'm in the woods is that path leading through the woods with the trees on either side. I always get drawn in and ask myself the question, where's that path going? So that's the shot that I'm going to look for next. I've got that shot set up and I'm at 70mm looking straight down the path, and that's really compressing perspective and bringing everything in. But it's a bit of a boring shot. What it needs is a focal point. And so this is going to be today's selfie. Now I've got the 10-second timer on, and in that time I've got to run something like 30 or 40 meters. So it would appear that today is the time for my annual run. That was a close one. I only just made that. Watch that back again and see just how close I got. Nevertheless, that's 2 in the bag and 2 to go. And I don't think I'm going to have to go far for my third shot. For my third shot, I'm going for a close-up of this fern. And this lens has a macro function. And what that means is that if you're zoomed in at 70mm, there's a little switch on the side that will allow you to focus even closer. Now, I'll be honest, I can't remember the minimum focusing distance of this lens. I didn't think it was this close. But what happened when I broke my lens was I knocked it off the tripod, and the impact must have done something to the focusing mechanism, because I was no longer able to focus on infinity, but I could focus much closer to the lens. Now, it has been repaired and I can focus to infinity now, but I didn't think I used to be able to focus this closely. So if you've got this lens, can you do me a favour and let me know in the comments below just how closely you can get it to focus? I'll be honest, this last shot is the one I was the most worried about. The widest aperture. How are you going to use a wide aperture creatively? Well, the idea that I've got in my head is to try and find something that I can put in the foreground that is in focus and still have a recognisable shape in the background that's out of focus. I don't want to do it the other way round. I don't want the background to be in focus, because for my eye, always find that if the foreground is out of focus, that's really, really distracting. Anyway, I think I found a composition that might work, but like I say, this is the shot I'm most worried about. So this is my final shot. I've got this fern in the foreground, which is my main subject, and then I've got the bench in the background, which I'm trying to blur out by shooting at f4. Now, ultimately, I'm not sure how successful this is going to be, so let me know by leaving a comment below. What did you think of that last image? I thought it was okay. As a composition, I thought it was alright. But as an exercise at using a wide open aperture, I think it was less successful. I don't think the background was blurred out enough, but that doesn't really matter. It just gives me something that I can try in future, maybe even in the next video. Now, if you've enjoyed this challenge and you want to take part, let me know by leaving a comment below. And if I get any takers, what I'll do is I'll create a page on my website and share your images. So at this point you might be thinking, what is the point of all these challenges? Well, as I said earlier, the weather forecast this morning was really poor, and so rather than going out and getting frustrated, or worse still, staying at home and not going out at all, I chose to come out and try something new, to experiment and maybe even learn something. So next time, why don't you try the same?